Oklahoma's deer gun season starts Saturday. It's the most popular hunting season in the state, with more than 200,000 hunters expected to head out during the 16-day season. It's also the busiest time of year for blood tracking dogs. And we have one in the studio with us this morning. Zeus is here. He's such a good boy. And his handler, Wendi and Zeus. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited.
We got to meet last year after one of my hunting trips. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But first, let's just talk about blood tracking, what it is, what blood tracking dogs do, and how long the two of you have been a team.
So we've been doing it about a year after it became legalized, so about 2017-18. These dogs, they're trained for not only blood, but the interdigital gland in between the hoofs of the deer. So our dogs will go out, hunters will call us, whether they made a great shot and just can't locate blood, or, you know, they've made a shot they're just not sure about. We'll show up, and our dogs are trained to track that line of blood and that gland, and we'll either follow that to an expired deer, or, you know, it'll kind of give us a better idea of this hunter's probably going to see it in the field again.
Okay, which does sometimes happen. And there are a lot of factors that go into the need of a blood tracking dog.
Absolutely.
What are some of those?
So even with amazing shot placement, sometimes, you know, hunters, we get calls all the time, hunters that just struggle to follow it. So even though you made the perfect ethical shot, you know, we get so many calls every year where we'll go out and this deer is such a short track, it's just the hunter might have just struggled to actually locate that deer.
Well, you said some folks are colorblind and they can't see.
I have a few people that I track for that are actually colorblind, so it makes it very difficult for them to follow if they don't have a friend to help them. So
why is it so important to have blood tracking dogs, and that it's made legal now in Oklahoma?
Well, there are a few regulations since you said legal. So with our game wardens, you know, we make sure that we always contact if we're in their county. Dogs must be on leash, no weapons, and then importantly, no crossing property lines without landowner permission. And I think they're so important. You know, it's a rewarding thing knowing that if Zeus and I weren't out there, you know, that hunter might not have recovered that game to provide meat for the family. And I think that's a pretty special thing for me and all the other trackers that do this in Oklahoma.
Absolutely. There's a picture of us last season. I shot a little forward on this deer and I called you guys out, and if it weren't for Zeus and you, Wendi, I wouldn't have recovered that deer. And we've already eaten all the meat and we're hunting for more now.
That's amazing.
So there is and thank you for that. There's an Oklahoma Blood Trackers Association.
Yes.
How does that work? Because that's really kind of the hub of finding a blood tracking dog.
So it's a group of trackers, and we've really had a goal in mind of being reputable and also certified teams. So what certified means is these judges will actually test us. Just like if a hunter were to call us out, they're going to judge how a dog and handler work together. And I'm really proud to say that group has recovered 168 deer this season already. And it's very simple. You can go to the Facebook page, the website. You're going to go there. There'll be a map. And that map's going to cover all blood trackers across Oklahoma, not just Tulsa County. So you would go there. It would provide a phone number. And then from there, you can bring in a tracking team.
Okay. And an important question. At what point does a hunter say, okay, I need a tracker, and what can hunters do to make Zeus's life easier?
There's a lot of things that can make his life easier, and mine too. But normally we say go about 100 yards. If you're not finding what you expect to find after 100 yards, you've lost your blood trail, things aren't looking good, go ahead and just call us out. Another thing is getting the tracker's information prior to season is actually really important. We already know who you are. And then grid searching is probably one of the #1 things. We always tell people when you're walking through the woods with your friends, that gland that we were talking about earlier, and the blood, you're essentially spreading that all through the woods. So now that's a scent block that we're going to have to be able to push through, and it, you know, makes it pretty difficult for us.
So don't grid search if you're thinking you might need a tracking dog.
This is the new way. Grid searching, we say, is the old way. You know, game wardens have made it amazing now that we get to do this, and I think it's a tool that hunters should definitely utilize.
Well, you two make a wonderful team,
Thank you.
and it was so fun to watch you both work last season. I hope I don't need to call you again, though.
That's always what I say. I'm like, it was great meeting you. I hope you don't need me again.
Exactly. Well, Wendi has had 10 calls this morning. She's headed to McAllister for a track. She and Zeus, so they're ready to go. Thanks for coming in and telling us more about this. We have linked all of the information on how you can track or how you can contact tracking dogs over at newson6.com.